If you are in your 20s right now, here is the brutal math. You can invest a tiny amount every month and end up with more than your parents. Or you can wait 10 years, invest twice as much, and still never catch up. That gap comes from 7 compounding truths most people only learn when it is too late. When Harry was 23, he worked in a noisy call center. He brought home $2,361 a month after tax. At the end of most months, he had maybe $39 left in his account. This amount is too small to matter, he thought. He would invest later when he had real money. Around that time, Harry found a beat-up copy of The Richest Man in Babylon by George Clason. One simple idea would not leave his head. Part of every coin earned should be kept. Harry looked at his $39 and realized something he wishes he knew years earlier. Compounding does not ask how much you start with. It only asks how long you give it. So let us start with brutal compounding truth 1. The beginning always feels like an insult. If Harry had started investing just $37 a month at age 20, his account after 1 year might have shown maybe $450. That is a few dinners out. It hardly feels like building wealth. Most people see that number, feel stupid, and stop. But here is what almost nobody notices. The first year is not about the size of the pile. It is about building the habit of adding to it every month, no matter what. Harry did not start at 20. He started at 23. He decided on an ordinary Tuesday night that $37 would leave his account on the first of every month. For the first few months, nothing felt different. His account crept from 0 to 119, then to 261, then to 418. It looked laughable compared to his friends buying new phones on credit. But brutal truth 2 was already working. Tiny numbers become dangerous when you give them years. Think about credit card interest. If you carry a balance of just $997 at a high rate, the interest in the first month looks small. Leave it for years and the balance becomes a quiet monster. That is compounding working against you. Harry finally understood this when he looked back over 12 months of statements. That same force, pointed in the right direction, could be his ally instead of his enemy. So brutal truth 3 is simple and ruthless. You are always compounding something. Maybe it is debt. Maybe it is late fees and impulse buys. Maybe it is skills, health, or investments. Compounding never switches off. Harry realized that every streaming trial he forgot to cancel, every random takeout order, every month he spent more than he earned, was feeding the wrong side of the equation. He was giving years of his life to someone else's compounding. This is where a line from The Psychology of Money by Morgan Housel hit him hard. The big difference is not knowledge or even income. The difference is the person who starts and keeps going, no matter how small the contributions look at first. Harry decided to build what he called his slow growth ladder. On the first of every month, he would move $37 into a basic index fund. On the first of every new year, he would increase that amount by another odd little step, $11. Not doubling, not some heroic leap. Just $11 more every year. So, brutal compounding truth 4 is that time beats intensity. Your 20s lie to you. They tell you that you will make more later, that you can always start at 30, that your 30s will be less chaotic. They will not. A decade later, you will have more responsibilities, more pressure, and more excuses. Harry ran the numbers one night. If he waited until 33 to start, he would have to invest more than triple per month to end in the same place at 53. Same investments, same returns, totally different outcome just because of time lost. Month by month, Harry's ladder climbed. At 23, he moved $37. At 24, $48. At 25, $59. After 3 years, his balance crossed $2,387. Still not life-changing, but something in his brain flipped. The account was no longer a pile of random deposits. It was a living thing that grew while he answered phone calls and ate leftover pasta. That shift leads to brutal compounding truth 5, the one Harry wishes every 20-year-old could tattoo on their calendar. Your behavior compounds harder than your returns. Harry's ladder was not complex. He was not day trading. He was not hunting hot tips. He was simply adding slightly more each year, in good months and bad ones, without touching the money. A few years in, he hit his first real test. His car broke down, and the repair quote came back at $733. A younger version of him would have dipped into his investments. Instead, he took an extra shift on a Saturday, delayed a small trip, and paid cash. That decision protected years of growth. Here is where another book, The Simple Path to Wealth by J.L. Collins, quietly backed him up. Collins kept repeating that the biggest risk is not picking the wrong fund. It is bailing out when things feel rough. That is brutal compounding truth 6. The market's mood swings matter far less than your ability to keep contributing. In your 20s, a market drop feels scary. In reality, it is a discount. Every monthly deposit buys more shares. Harry watched his balance dip in one rough year, dropping from 4,119 down to 3,684. He felt sick, but the next year, without changing his routine, the account recovered and pushed past 5,531. Let us talk about brutal compounding truth 7, the one almost nobody connects to money in their 20s. Compounding is not only about money, it is about identity. Every time Harry protected his investment habit, he was voting for the kind of person he wanted to become. That identity spilled into other areas. He started learning one new skill each quarter: better communication on the phone, basic spreadsheet skills, a beginner investing course. Over 6 or 7 years, they changed his income completely. By his early 30s, Harry was no longer in the call center. Those skills moved him into a client success role and then into a team lead position. His take-home pay climbed to $3,947 a month. He still increased his investment ladder by $11 each year, nothing flashy. By 35, his monthly contribution had climbed into the low hundreds. The account balance that once felt laughable now sat above $47,319. The same person who once thought $39 was too small to invest now had a portfolio larger than his entire annual salary in his 20s. The majority of that money did not come from Harry's contributions. It came from growth on growth. The small gains in his early years, the reinvested dividends, the extra shares bought during downturns, all of it stacked quietly in the background while he lived his life. If he stripped out the skips, the months where he almost paused contributions and managed not to, his balance would have been thousands lower. Those tiny decisions on random Tuesday nights mattered more than any single hot stock pick. So, if you are in your 20s and you feel late, here is what Harry wishes he could tell you at your kitchen table. First, accept that the beginning will feel painfully small. You will look at your first few months of contributions and want to laugh. Do it anyway. Second, pick an amount small enough that you can ignore it during a bad month, then increase it by a strange little step every year. Not double. Not some heroic challenge, just a number like 11 or 13 that you will remember. Third, decide which side of compounding you are feeding. Every takeout, every unpaid debt, every new subscription is either stealing from your future growth or funding it. Fourth, treat market dips as sales, not verdicts on your intelligence. If you are decades away from needing the money, lower prices are a gift. Fifth, guard your identity as the person who keeps adding to the pot. Make it a running joke with yourself that you are the boring investor. Boring investors quietly end up with options later. Read a little, learn a little, apply a little, month after month, and finally, understand the harshest compounding truth of all. You will never again have the amount of free time you have in your 20s. You may feel busy now, but later there will be kids, aging parents, a partner, a mortgage, health issues, and responsibilities you cannot even imagine yet. If you do not build compounding on your side during this window, every future year gets harder. Harry cannot go back to 20, neither can you. But you can decide that tonight is the last night you let compounding work only against you. When this video ends, do not open another tab. Open your banking app. Set up a small, automatic monthly investment, even if it is only $37. Name the account something that reminds you who you are building for. Future you with options and breathing room. You will not feel the difference in 1 month, but measure it again after 12 months, after 36, after 120. That is when the brutal truths turn into the most comforting math you will ever know.